Hey, everybody, what do you say? I'm your host, Tim Snyder, talking trash. Welcome to episode 24. We have a nice episode lined up for you. We're off our schedule a little bit with the holiday, and we missed an episode, so I'm not sure when we're going to be doing the next one. We probably Tuesday or Wednesday. We're going to have to break up the schedule and have an extended amount of days off for at some point because we like to have four in the middle and then three in the middle. So, but anyway, it's Pride Month, so we welcome all our LGBTQ listeners. We know there's quite a few of you, and you take a lot of heat for the way you live your life, and nobody deserves that. And me of all people, I stand with anybody who's wrongly accused and wrongly persecuted. So that being said, let's do the Serenity Prayer like we would in a NA meeting or an AA meeting. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him, forever and ever in the next. Amen. So yeah, that really strikes a chord for any addict who's been in the rooms. You don't you say that at the beginning of the podcast, the um the meeting, and that's kind of that's what they do in NA or AA meetings. Some do the Lord's Prayer. Uh, I I I do the Serenity Prayer and that extended version of the one on there. It's tough to memorize that second part. I get tripped up all the time, but yeah, we have a nice group of following with the LGBTQ and pretty much any demographic. We have the 21-year-old kid who doesn't know what to do. We have the 50-year-old mom that doesn't know what to do with their 21-year-old kid. So, this is we take this very seriously. We like to have fun. We like to joke around. I do a lot of fun graphics and different things, but when it comes down to it, we take it life and death. We don't throw anybody by the wayside. If there's any kind of a problem that needs like our emergent attention, you get it. I mean, we stop what we're doing and we come take a phone call or answer an email or something, but you do get the help because we will stop anything and everything, and we have. So, we're it's a privilege for us to do this podcast. It's a privilege to have new people come into our orbit of the podcast. And my friend Tommy Wilkes, he's a little nervous, so let's be easy on him. But yeah, I mean, we had a new co-host. We got Mike Alexley back forever. He's like a fungus. He just grows on you. He doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, we get ready to see these three faces. Or listen to these three voices as we go forward, because Tommy Wilkes is officially a co-host to Talkin' Trash. So let's bring the boys in. How do I do that with, with this? I'm sorry. All right. Hi, boys. How we doing?
What's going on?
How
Not
are
too
you?
much. You can tell Tommy's the tallest one because he barely fits in frame.
You can tell I'm the shortest one because I'm trying
Yeah.
to sit up straight.
Tommy wore blue and we wore red. Come on, dude.
I
Go
got Phillies
Braves.
red. Phillies.
Go Braves.
See, Tommy, a few episodes ago, I got an email from a random fan. It was just in jest. It says, "Do you match your outfits to match your graphics?" And I didn't
I
know.
remember that.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know I was doing it until I looked, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I've done it for 3 episodes. It's green, one was yellow, one was red. So I'm like, so like now it's a fun habit to you know make the little red strips to the left of our names red. So we have a good time with that. So let's start with Mike Oxley because I want to hear from Tommy a little bit more extendedly. Michael, how are you doing? You got your Phillies shirt on, I see. Go
I'm,
Phils!
do- I'm doing good. Best record in baseball.
Yeah.
I just hope we're not peaking too early.
Hmm.
And I expect Bryce Harper to get another MVP this year and for us to finally win the World Series this year.
M3P for sure. Friend of mine caught a Bryce Harper I think it was. I don't know if it was in Washington or at the Citizens Bank. I can't remember, but he caught a Bryce Harper home run ball.
Oh, that's
Bare
nice.
barehanded. Nobody's paying attention around. They're all on their phones out in the outfield. And he
Yeah.
said, I saw it coming, and he's like a ninja. He said he grabbed it. So that was fun. I think it was at the bank, but I'm not sure where it was. So yeah. So go Phillies. I'm a huge Phillies. I'm a average Phillies fan. I don't really, I'm not all over it, but
More
um,
Flyers though.
yeah, I'm a hockey fan. I can say
I
that.
just wanted to take a minute while we're going to introduce Tommy a little more formally to viewers that don't know who I am.
Yep.
I am Mike Oxley. I am a retired nurse, a long time in addiction. Specifically, I was a detox nurse for a lot of years, so I've seen it all. I am not in recovery, although I'm no better than anybody in recovery, and I do want to stress that. I'm here to make sure that these two guys here don't relapse, but I'm
Hmm.
here to help you, the viewer. Any medical questions, any mental health questions. I know a lot of useless stuff, and they're not always questions on Jeopardy. So
Yeah,
any help that I can be from the outside looking in, um, that's what I'm here for,
I got you.
and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
So any help I can be to you, the viewer, with medical questions, um, ailment questions, withdrawal questions, and mental health questions.
yeah.
Feel free, fire them at me.
Without a doubt. And Mike knows his stuff. He's seen it all from an opposite side that we addicts have seen it, and that's why I had him on have him on the show because there's a contrast between me and Mike, and he's for recovery. He's for anything that keeps you clean, and I'm looking for anything that keeps me clean. So we iron sharpens iron in that respect. So Mike, real quick, what you're a big Taylor Swift fan. Let's not get crazy into that, but I do want to hear a couple of minutes so the fans know that you're a fan of Taylor.
I'm a big fan of Taylor. In fact, I saw she was approved to sing the Star Spangled Banner at a Chiefs home game this year through the NFL. They are separated, OTAs and official practices have begun for the Chiefs. So she is in Spain right now on this European leg of the Eras Tour.
Mm,
And she's wrapping up. She has about another month long break in about 3 weeks. I expect her to come home, or obviously he can't be traveling with her, Travis. But yeah, from what I can see, it's just love, love, love. It's going to be a great storybook romance, and it's going to be the greatest American love story.
Tommy's very interested because he was going to start following Taylor Swift. But you can follow her for us. How's that
Sure,
go?
no
All right,
problem.
Mike.
I followed the band Fish enough.
Oh yeah, and I listen. Fish fans are different breed. They are
We
the
are a
Grateful
different
Dead
breed.
fans. They are stuck in the 80s and the 70s. They're the Grateful Dead fans. And yeah, a lot of people travel around with Trey and the Fish, and
Yep.
he's and they're good, they're not my type, they're not my speed, I'm not
It's
a
that jam band kind of
kind
feel,
of yep. Like
and I like it, like Jerry Garcia,
I was just going to
like the
say
Grateful
like
Dead.
Rest
Jerry
in
Garcia.
peace.
He's yeah, without a doubt,
Trey
1995.
Anastasio was at the Rangers game the other night.
Oh, really? So he's
Yep.
an addict in recovery, Trey
He
Anastasio.
is. Yep. He's been
He's been
sober since 2006, I believe.
wow, and the band's been like he's got to be 55, 60 years old, right?
Yeah, they are early 60s, late 50s.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's an example of someone who can do it all and who has it all, put it right in front of him. And he made a decision to surrender his will and his life
Yeah.
over to the care of God.
Yeah, the band Fish would not be around if he did not get
Without a
sober.
doubt. Without a doubt. So I saw them in concert in Homedale, New Jersey. I love
What
that
year?
song. I don't know, 2008, 2006, 2000. I was in the
Okay.
mid 2000s.
They were in hiatus in 2006 through 2008.
What do you mean? Like, I mean, I
They
don't know.
they came back in 2009.
Was it because of Trey's addiction or
Yeah, I mean he was still getting sober. Like he went
okay.
through drug court.
Yeah.
So their first shows back were March 2009.
Right. Okay. I mean,
But
it
there is a
maybe
very good. They used to go to Homedale New
Yeah.
Jersey a lot. There's a very good show from 2000.
Nah, it's too early. I didn't get
Okay.
clean till 2004.
It
I,
may have
I
been '04.
I don't think so. I don't because I went with a guy that I worked with, and it definitely wasn't 2000. Definitely not
Okay. Well,
2004. Maybe 2012. Who the hell knows? It was a
who the
great
hell
show.
knows?
Great show. Just a different breed of people, and it's
Yep.
awesome. I love the song where they go, didn't,
Wilson.
Wilson.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm a
Great
big fan
song.
of Fish. Certain songs, I don't like the jazzing out thing, and I didn't like it with the Grateful Dead either.
Yeah.
Just do your music. You know, you don't have to do Touch a Grave for 35 minutes, but they do. So 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 yeah,
More like Eyes of the World for 30 minutes, not Touch
that's
of Grey.
exactly right. Eyes of the World. They tied that shit into everything. So yeah, it was. My brother went to a couple Dead shows. He was tripping on acid at one of them, and he told
That's
me
the
the
way to
funny.
do it.
This is a fun story before we get into Tommy. Um, he was uh, he was like 16 with 18-year-old friends, and he's tripping on acid or whatever. He said he thought his legs and his feet were cemented into the ground, and he went to smoke a cigarette, and it was fucking 10 feet long. So don't do acid, guys. It's just not right. Very funny. I do have a mushroom story that includes the Phillies and Veterans Stadium, and I will share that at another time. Um,
Can't wait.
that one is a doozy, bro.
It's got to have a
Everybody,
rat. It's got to have a rat involved.
a rat.
Well,
Uh,
the rats used to run all around the vet. Remember?
oh yeah, exactly. No, I just saw people with blood coming out of their eyes. No big deal. No big deal on July 4th when they're going to shoot off fireworks after the game, and yeah, it was crazy to start with, but ended fun. It was a lot of fun. So, all right, my friend Tommy Wilkes, new to the broadcast. It's just a pleasure to have you on. You've done a couple episodes so far, and like I'm getting nothing but good feedback. Emails, my parents, like that's that's big. They know what they're talking about. So it's nice to have a fresh opinion. But Tommy is, I'll leave it to him to tell you the details. But just real quick, Tommy is a little over. Oh no, he's just a little under a year sober. Like what, 8 months, Tommy? Seven
Almost
months?
8 months.
Almost 8 months. So I can tell you what it's like being clean and living a life for 15 years and raising kids and all that stuff. Um, I can also talk about being a year clean, and I wear that as a badge, not the fact that you know, I'm I'm a year clean. It's just the fact that I've chosen to do it again later in my life for my kids and myself.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tommy Wilkes, 7 years sober. Seven. You wish.
7 months.
You wish. 7 months sober. We had a guy that was 7 years. Never mind. 7 months sober. He brings a fresh look to the broadcast, and we're really grateful to have him. So Tommy, how are you, and what do you think going on here?
I'm doing well. It's great to be a part of this podcast. I recently got out of 7 months of treatment, and so feeling great. And as we talked about in the first episode, I met Tim my first week of sobriety at Good Landing Recovery. I'm actually going to an alumni event tonight at Good Landing. I
Kiss
will
him.
say hey to everyone for you, Tim.
Yeah,
Ha ha.
you know, tread
But
lightly. I got quite a
yeah, right.
reputation in there.
But yeah, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I'm feeling good. It was a great week back. I went to a lot of meetings, AA meetings here in Atlanta, and felt very welcomed. There you go.
Yeah, you
Um,
keep talking. I just throw it up.
yeah. So
Oh, it's not NA.
yeah, looking to find a home group here in Atlanta. And so yeah, doing great.
So, what was the best AA meeting you went to, or meeting that you went to?
I went to one last night that was really good. One of my buddies from high school chaired the meeting. Well, he thought he was the chair and actually signed up to be the topic leader, and so he actually was the one who brought topic.
Yeah.
And it was a great meeting. Met a lot of good people. We all went to dinner after. Had some great conversations at dinner. And it was good. And it was funny because he like called my name during the middle of the meeting, like kind of when we were in one of those lulls of people speaking. And so I ended up sharing, and I'm getting better at sharing early, because, I want to be calculated and kind of what I say, and,
Yeah.
have it relate to the topic. But I've been getting better. There are some meetings that are larger where it's kind of tough to share.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Sure.
went to a meeting this morning. It was like 150 guys. It was a
Hmm.
men's meeting, but that was really good. The guy's story was very powerful.
So there was a speaker. It was a speaker meeting. Obviously,
It
if
was
it's
a
100.
speaker meeting, but they left the last 30 minutes for shares. I did go to 2 meetings this week where the speaker shared the whole time.
Hmm.
And so I think that's more common, but, kind of a little harder to get a good judge of the meeting when the speaker shares the whole time. But, met a lot of good people. So yes, we'll start whittling down,
Yeah.
but also try new meetings next week. But just felt very welcomed
Yeah.
by the AA community. So.
Yeah. And you
I
will.
was
You'll.
hoping that
Yeah.
we could spend some time talking about that
Well.
because I am not in recovery. That we could discuss what legally, what you can say, what I know it's anonymous, what does go on in a meeting. I would like, I've seen them, I've been right next to them, but when you guys would go to a meeting and I was a detox, that's when I would catch up on my paperwork and doing my
Mm.
documentation. So I never really
Mhm.
participated,
Yeah.
but I was always curious the ins and outs on what really goes on in there.
Sure. This episode is a 12-step episode, is what we're focusing on. What the 12
Okay.
steps are, what they do. Tommy's going to bring in a fresh look. I went to a meeting last night, and it was awesome. Like, I'm not a pro meeting guy. I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm too good for it. Like, that's my ego, and I admit to it. But it is what it
You're
is.
not too good for a meeting, Tim.
No, I.
You are
You
not.
kidding me? And I'm just saying that out loud. Just I need to keep
Right.
myself in check. I'm not perfect, and I judge people, and I'm trying not to. Um,
Right.
I'll judge somebody in the same breath as hugging them and telling them I love you. So, like, I don't know. It's a thing. It's just a grown up uh, interaction thing. Whether it's drugs or whether it's pottery, whatever it is, you're in a group and you're talking about the same thing. Drugs are way more fun to talk about than pottery. I can tell you that much. But it is. This is a 12-step episode. We're gonna go over all 12 steps. Tommy's gonna help us with that because he just went through the 12 steps, um, and a little quicker than a lot of people. A lot of people take years and they're just stuck on their fourth step, and you always hear that. And you know, so yeah, Tommy's going to bring us into the world of AA. Just the last, I don't know what, 3 months of AA and your rehab there.
Yeah, very
Oh,
good. Yeah. We went to a meeting every night
yeah,
in sober living.
right,
So in Birmingham,
yeah,
Alabama. Um, and so, yeah, got a very good feel for
mm-hmm,
different types of meetings, how it works. And so, but I'm, as I've said, a firm believer in the program.
yeah,
As an outsider, I mean, I would like to say just one thing before you guys get more into something that I'm going to be learning about too tonight. But you know, I always tried to beat home and beat it through people's skulls that it was okay to come to detox. It was okay to be an addict because, and we're taught addiction does not discriminate. So it bothers me sometimes to see that recovery sometimes does discriminate,
mm-hmm,
which is crazy.
yeah,
Addiction doesn't, but you're going to recover, and they do discriminate against each other,
right.
and that makes no sense to an outsider like myself.
It
And I
doesn't.
like you guys to kind of explore what I just said and kind of keep that in mind as you go through it. Why is it so discriminatory to certain groups and certain drugs and certain types of addiction, but we all agree that addiction does not discriminate?
You're right. Tommy, I'll let you handle that one first. That's a good question, Mike. Yeah, Tommy, go ahead. It's a loaded question. Go on.
Yeah. I have not experienced like really any discrimination. I mean, I think maybe what you're getting at are the different types of the anonymous meetings like NA, CA, HA.
Hmm.
But what I will say is that all of those fall under the AA 12
Yep.
step program. Um, But Mike, I will say that, there are some meetings where they already have their niche of people. And so, they may not, want a newcomer. I've not experienced that yet. Like I said, the AA community in Birmingham and Atlanta has been very welcoming, and I have not felt uncomfortable at any of the meetings.
Hmm.
For beginners and seasoned
Yeah, it's been
recovery
a good
people? Okay.
mix at,
Okay.
a lot of the meetings. I mean, you could, like, I was at a Northside young people meeting, and there was a guy there that was 38 years sober,
Hmm.
Wow.
and it was
Wow.
full of young people. And then the speaker was 17 years old.
See,
She was
you're
a
go-
year and a half clean.
you're
That's a
gonna
great.
you're gonna see
Yeah.
that here and there. Yep, it's rare, but you'll see it.
That's great.
So the speaker was 17 years old. Like, did you relate to that?
I I related when she started going into her step work.
Hmm.
Obviously, her war stories were a lot different, and she struggled with drugs, and bounced around schools, but she tied it in all really well, and she started talking about her four step and what she learned. And so I was very impressed of her ability to like talk freely about the program and the steps. So I thought that one was very good, and just was shocked that she was 17.
Yeah, it is shocking. Mike just said it doesn't discriminate. So, but I said this either in a podcast or in a short. I don't remember where I said this, but um, I was explaining that there's good and bad people everywhere. There's people that like drama. They like people getting kicked out. They relish in it. There's people that are sober, want to see people fail. You know what I mean? So wherever you go, there's going to be that group. But at the same time, you just got to. You just need to take it as a grain of salt and find the people you're comfortable with.
Exactly.
If the entire group is like that and they're discriminatory and they're not
Yeah.
they're not it's tough to navigate that, but you will find a certain meeting. I found an AA
Yeah.
meeting last night that I'm going back to. I mean, it's
Good.
here, it's comfortable, it was a great mix. It was a 12-step meeting. They spent about 20 minutes or 30 minutes maybe on the 12 steps and 12 traditions, reading the book, passing it around. And this is there was more there's more time to share at the end. I didn't think there'd be any
Yeah.
time to share because it was like 10 pages long. But before you know it, we worked our way through it. And it's good because it gives you a topic to share on, and gets the juices flowing or the blood running. So, yeah, I mean, that's great, Tommy, that you're bouncing around figuring out meetings. But beware, there are people that don't want to see you do well. And there are people that want you to do well so badly.
Yeah.
And they love you. But there's people that are miserable and they've screwed up their lives to the point where they want other people to screw up their lives the same way so they feel better about themselves. So
Hey,
you just got
Tim.
to
Right.
navigate.
Yeah.
Tim, that's not an addiction thing. That's a classroom thing. That's a
Yep.
family thing.
Yep.
That's a sports team thing.
Right. Yep.
That is a co-worker thing.
Yeah.
Any groups of people just prey upon the negative, and
Yeah.
when you're in recovery, hopefully you get clear headed enough to stay away from that.
Yeah. Yep. And it's important for somebody like Tommy who is now testing the waters. And
Yeah.
somebody can say something offhand and cut them off. And like, I would feel some type of way about that. I'd be kind of upset. Especially 700 days into recovery. It's hard to get over that quickly because your emotions aren't in check anymore. You don't have your faculties about you. You're not as emotionally stable as you think you are for that. And somebody hits you up and makes you feel shitty, and before you know it, you're not coming to meetings anymore. And you think
Yeah.
how he feels, everybody feels, and you come up with
Well,
things in your head. So
well,
yeah,
I tried. Well, I
exact.
tried.
Yep. So. Yep.
But yeah, what I love about AA and the rooms of AA is the no crosstalk,
Hmm.
and they enforce it.
What does that mean? That means like no talking among
So
yourself, like
so
being in school and there'd be a speaker not talking, or you're going to get detention, like kind of.
Mm.
you don't necessarily get in trouble, but I mean it's you don't want to talk during someone's share.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
about
frowned
respect.
upon. It's
It
about
is.
respect. And then you are not supposed to refer to someone.
Yeah.
You can refer to their share and expound upon someone's share, but you're not supposed to preach to someone who shared, or
Right.
call them out like
Right.
during a meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't do that. So yeah, I mean, I share the same experience. I think I might be going to meetings a little longer than Tommy. So I have a different viewpoint. So my guard's up. My guard's up because people have upset me in meetings. People have said things, say three words to me about negative or constructive criticism, and I'll carry that to my grave. I'm far from perfect, but like that's just how I am. 41 years old and 700 days
Tim,
over.
the weather anchor person has said things that have upset you.
Yeah.
Let's be
You're
honest.
you're right. Yeah, I'm not. Everything upsets me. I'm a hockey player and I want a fist fight. And
Right. Gloves are off,
if
baby.
I if
Gloves
I
are off.
if I can't drop the
Mm,
gloves, I argue in circles and never make my point.
I know.
So yeah, it's all good. You gotta
You
find
But
the
I
need to
love
do
that
another
about
four
you.
step.
yeah. I never did a four step. By the way,
Well, there you go.
I've gotten to it. No, I mean it's I'm a firm believer that you need to put whatever you can in your tool belt. And if it's
Heck yeah.
church, if it's meetings, if it's a sponsor, if it's a friend, if it's joining a podcast, do
Yeah.
whatever you can.
Yeah.
Do whatever you can to help yourself. So I cherry pick. I do. I went to an AA meeting. I read the AA preamble, all that. I got it memorized. But I've never applied one specific thing to my recovery. But I'm here today because I went to church. I connected with people. I went to meetings. I started a podcast. Um, that's the reason that's how I'm connected today. That's what I do for my recovery. So everybody is everybody's recovery is different.
Hmm.
So you just need to be mindful of that and certainly not be on your high horse around anybody that's around any meeting. You need to humble yourself and walk in there with a level head because you are no better than anybody. I don't care if you have 12 years sober. You're going to turn off the kid that's 18 and he's a month sober. And, so that's tough. It's tough to navigate. So that's Tommy going to meetings and really getting into it. I want to introduce Tommy. I have a little highlight reel here of him in the last episode. So let's get into that real quick.
Tom, you're much better looking than on our clean time photo. In person, you might want to talk to Tim about redoing that photo of you.
What's funny is that clean time photo. I had to crop out the glass of wine he was holding.
For me, going through the 12 steps really changed me. I really got a ton of conviction going through that step 4, the moral and searching for fearless inventory of yourself.
Yeah.
Had a really transformational moment, a surrender moment to God, my higher power, and wanted to live a different way. So it's pretty surreal. There's a little fear, but going back to step 3, I've surrendered my life and my will over to the care of God. And, I've shifted from this self-reliance to God reliance and really trusting in God to provide. And it's very powerful, the amends process. You were talking about making amends, Tim. That's another part of the program is that we, anyone that we've harmed in our past, even in sobriety, before addiction, anyone you've harmed, you go and make an amends to them. And so and that's a long process, but
Yeah.
I'll continue to be doing that. But, I was my biggest enabler. I really did not have a lot of people bringing me down. I was bringing myself down and isolating. I'm open to, working full time in recovery. I'm really waiting patiently for God to, open a door there.
Yeah. So listen, Tommy, you say that and like the last time we talked about it, that was not on the table. This is a surprise to me. Your work can't be your recovery. That's a big things people make
Exactly.
a
Yep.
mistake of.
Amen to
You're
Right.
that. Yep.
you're in a safe bubble where you're in treatment, but you're also working in treatment. So everything's
Yep.
treatment, 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 treatment. So you can let your guard down when you leave. So like that's all. That's the only advice I can give you, and that's
Yeah.
firsthand advice. I felt to that. You would be awesome in treatment, and being 6'4", you're looking down at all the people doing what they're doing, so you have a bird's eye view there. That's fun. So yeah, we
I
get a
think
we're
I
yeah,
think
go
he
ahead.
aged since he started doing the podcast.
Oh yeah, he's got gray hair all over him.
Guys, could I ask you guys a favor, if you could, since there's such a wide variety, what you were talking about, recovery meetings, AA meetings, we can just stick to AA meetings. But Tommy, you've been to some, but you've been to a few months of them while you were in treatment. I think you had said at one point you were going to a meeting every night through the facility and the program that you were in, correct?
Yes.
So I really want to hear from both of you on what turned you off immediately. A meeting that you would never go back to is not for you, and why. So let's do that for a few minutes.
Yeah, Tommy.
Um, that's a good question. I think maybe somewhere where you would go in and no one talks to you. Um, that would not necessarily a turn off, but I mean, I think a big thing of AA is being welcoming people into the rooms, because we're all there with the same problem,
Yep.
and we're all trying to recover together. And so that would maybe be a small turn off. I think when people share, if they start preaching
Yeah.
at people and
Hmm.
trying to tell people what to do,
Yeah.
a big part of it, an important part, is just sharing your experience.
Sure.
That is where I've gained the most knowledge in the rooms, is people sharing their experience, because you never know if someone will relate to that. I mean, and usually they will. I've had meetings where I've shared and I'm like, man, I don't know what the clue I just what I just said, or if anyone will relate to it. And those are the ones where I've had people come up to me and be like, man, I really appreciate you sharing. And so it's stuff like that that keeps you coming back. And we're all there to help each other. But that's what I would say as far as maybe some turnoffs.
Sure, Tommy. That's that's exactly what I would have said too. The most important part of a meeting is the newcomer. So you need to be
Yes.
be accepting of them. But then Tommy said, if you don't get a little recognition for what you said, you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'll never speak again. I couldn't. How could I do that?" And like last night, I shared, and I'm waiting for somebody to share and say what Tim said really rang true to me. Like I'll be on cloud nine. One person to say what he over there said. I'm like, oh, he was listening to me. I'm so happy. So it's just one of those things where like if I don't get the recognition that I'm looking for, I'll button up a little bit. So even last night they gave away key tags or chips, and I realized I hadn't gotten my 1 year chip yet. So I went up and they do the whole "how did you do it" thing, and I told them people, places, and things, big deal for me, and taking suggestions and giving back to the program as much as I can. I don't want to advertise the podcast, but
No.
yeah, Tommy's right. Tommy is right. It's if you're the one that says something to the newcomer, then so be it. If you're waiting for somebody else to do it, it may not get done. So
Exactly.
it is a
Well,
strange thing to do
I
that.
think it's interesting that from an outsider that I don't go to meetings, I'm not in recovery. What you're both describing is something very basic in humanity.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm a student of
Yeah.
human nature.
Yep.
We're not talking about, oh, it was the wrong topic, it was the wrong group of people, it was the wrong type of speaker, it was the wrong type of meeting.
Yep.
No, you guys are both pointing out human
Mhm.
interaction.
Yep.
Human interaction would be
Yep.
your turnoffs, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind of interesting. A topic doesn't turn you off, speakers don't turn you off, but how they act towards you or you act towards them would turn you off, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I went to this meeting with my mom last night because I wanted her to see it. So me and Vicky went on a little excursion, and she was like, she read the book. We're reading the 12 traditions book, and I'm like, I hope she doesn't share because she can't in this meeting. And she was really good. And after the meeting, she was like, "So that's an AA meeting, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, mom, that's it's what they are." So it was pretty funny. Yeah, we just, you read from the book, you say pass. Everybody reads from the book. This particular chapter was a million pages long, but at the same time, it was good. Like I shared and didn't get anybody any applause. They just said thank you. I'm waiting for that guy to say blah blah blah, like him over there said. That's all I need. I'm like, oh my god, no 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 no. I'm so happy. I can go to bed happy tonight. So it's one of those things where
The thing about the podcast is there's probably 300 people that are sitting home and saying that right now,
yeah,
Tim.
you're
So
right.
you have to believe in that, and with the emails that we get.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Tim,
Speak
remember, I that's how I met you,
Yeah,
is after you shared in a
right.
PHP meeting,
I,
yeah.
and I came up to you and just gave you a hug, and I said, I appreciate you sharing, and that's how our friendship started.
That's how it started. And
you
if
wait. You bent down
oh, stop it.
and gave him a
A
hug.
Will
little
you
bit,
stop
little
it?
bit.
What would you? What? How would he have to bend down for you, Oxley? He'd be like, you know,
He had to get on his knees.
impossible. Yeah, no. Like, if Tommy didn't decide to do that day, um,
Right.
who knows if we'd have been friends or not? I like him. He's stands out in the crowd, but he broke the ice, and I was
Yeah,
broken. So he stepped in and just gave me a hug and said, "Thanks for sharing. You did a good job. I'm Tommy Wilkes. I'm the handsomest guy in here." I was like, "All right,
there
Tommy.
we go.
Nice to meet you." And it was just one of those things where, like, I wasn't in a good place. I didn't want to be in rehab again. I was getting sober. I've been clean for, I don't know, almost a year almost, and so it was one of those things where, like I needed some, like Mike said, basic humanity, and a lot of people have lost that. You know what I mean? Like in Georgia, they hold the doors for you a little longer, but in Jersey, they'll just let them slam right in your face. They don't care. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's
There used to be a
any
saying about Wawa. I don't know if our viewers know Wawa.
Oh, the
Wawa's the
gas
only,
station. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, the only place in America that they'll hold the door open for you, but run your ass over in the parking lot.
without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
But Tommy doesn't realize we pump our own gas. Or no, we can't pump our own gas.
No,
Yeah,
New
because the
Jersey does not
union.
pump our own gas.
Yeah, it's it's pretty rare, but like I gotta pump my own gas. So
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, any meeting you're gonna find people of all walks of life from, and just use it as an experience. Like
But
when you're
that doesn't seem to bother you. The diversity of the meetings, diversity of the topics. I just find it interesting as a backdoor
hmm
psychologist myself
yeah,
that it all boils down to the human interaction.
it does.
And that's important to remember. Again, goes back to before we started this segment. How come addiction does not discriminate? And we all agree, but recovery can be discriminatory.
Yep,
It's odd. It's an odd fallacy.
it is. But you gotta remember, people are people no matter where they are. So they're
Yeah.
gonna be what they're gonna be,
Yeah.
And Jim
and
Morrison said people are strange. You know.
people are just when it's a stranger.
Mhm.
So you continue to do your ninth step. It's just make amends where you can. But 10 and 11, I mean, that's something we should be doing every day, taking a personal inventory. Tommy said he does a personal inventory every night. And that's great. Journaling is a big part of recovery because you may not have a platform to get your words out to feel like you're being heard. But, if you can, if you can continue to pray and meditate, you know, his will come through. And this is what I shared on last night. It was about meditation and how it's difficult to focus on, and it's like what I took away from that is the fact that if you're praying for his will eventually, your prayers stop. Those selfish foxhole prayers stop. And you begin to see the light and you begin to love your people again. And the more you get that back, the more conviction, like Tommy said, God puts it on your heart. And you're able to able to organize things, like a filing cabinet in your brain. You can put this stuff here and that stuff there. You can, put things away so you're clear headed, and you have a goal to set, and you're setting it. So, or you're meeting it. So, yeah, you got to do that every day. 11 and 12, or 10 and 11, I guess 12 too. The 12 steps doesn't end with 12 steps at the 12th step.
Mm.
And that's important to know.
It's not a course, you're saying.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's do it at your leisure. Do it with some intent to fix your problems, but don't jump into it if it's too early for you. Tommy had the luxury of having people in his corner that he could just sit down and do the 12 steps.
Yeah.
People like me, there's plenty of people like me, they can't even start doing them because we're a mess and we hurt people way worse. So it's not a competition, but you want to pray for his will, not your will, because our will got us into trouble. Our will got us arrested, DUIs. So you start to pray for his will and the power to carry that out. So me, I prayed for God, please get me out of this situation. Please do this. Please do that. And as I got sober and I realized what I was doing, as I recognized that 11th step, because all of a sudden I'm praying for my daughters first. Then I'm praying for my brother and my sister and my parents and everybody. And I get to my end of my prayers and I haven't said one thing about me. I haven't asked anything. I just asked for his will to play out in other people's lives. So that's really how I understand 11 and 12. But yeah, I'm not praying, give me, give me, give me. I'm praying, what do I do to help others? Tell me what your will is and the power to carry that out, and I will.
All this meeting talk, can we do my favorite part, the clean time?
Yes, we can.
That's my favorite. You like that part, Tommy? I love that
I
part.
love it.
It's a good part.
Well, you're in it.
That helps.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so we're going to do some clean time here. Tommy, what is clean time?
Clean time is the amount of time in days that someone has been sober and clean. So, Tim, let's get into our clean time segment.
Sounds good. Alrighty, let's get into some clean time, shall we? Tony J picking up a red key tag, 33 days. Way to go, Tony. Jared Black comes in at 42 days. Attaboy. New friend of the show, Ian Bumbliss, 47 days. Another new friend of the show, Frank Kenny, 50 days. James Cobb, 60 days, clean and serene. Attaboy. New to the show, Mandy Jean Wagner, 60 days as well. Ricky McVicker, 121 days. Tommy Wilkes, 234 days. Way to go, Tommy. We love you. Welcome to the show, Will Douglas, 239 days. And there's me. Listen, showering with my sponsor helps me stay clean. Hand to God. Amelia Quarto, 560 days. Stella Montez, friend of the show, 800 days. Way to go, Stella. Brian Cobb, you're a mess, 800 days. I love you. 2 years, Casey Baxter, welcome to the program. Another newbie, April Pritchard, 2 years. Way to go, April. Jeffrey S., two and a half years. I wouldn't want to owe this guy money. Charlotte Bellafieur, 8 years. Wow. And Sarah Morales says, I'll see your 8 and double it. 16 years. And then Patricia White with a staggering 24 years. The most important part of any meeting is the newcomer. So, Daniel G, 23 days again. Attaboy. And our new friend Cassidy B, 25 days. All right, that's clean time for June 1st. If you want to be on the program or be acknowledged, go to our website, trash-podcast.com, or email me at the email that's on the screen. So that's it. Thank you very much for hanging out with us for clean time. All right, there we go. Remember to get the dark in. Oh, I mean, it's not hard to get. or dial the 988 Suicide and Crisis Helpline if you find yourself in a jam. So, we are here to help you get along in that process. We're not clinical in any way. We just we'll show you the first steps, but we're not accredited at all. We can just push you in the right direction. So that's the point of the show. That's why we're here, and that's why we're not going anywhere. I have a calling to do this, whether it's 20 fans or 1,000. I don't really care. It's the same to me. If we help one person, one person's kid, I know we have already. We're creating this domino effect where we're touching so many lives by saving one. So it's important, and we take it very seriously. Um, Mikey, you want to get in some emails? What do you think? Mikey, you want to?
Yeah, we were
I've
muted.
muted them. I understand what I'm doing. I'm new. All right. Did you hear me at least?
I
Yes.
could hear you. Yes, I would
That's
love to do emails. Fans love that. Fans love seeing other people's business
yep.
and
No
us
doubt.
describing it.
All right. Let's get in. All right. Um, I'm gonna. All right. Here's a short one. We have three long ones and like four short ones. So from oh my god, I almost lost the podcast. So LJ, Eddie from LJ, Georgia. That place is nowhere it's in the middle of nowhere. I have a friend from LJ. Um, he's the
Me
guy that.
too.
Do you really?
It's the same
Oh,
person.
it's Spivey, of course. I keep
Bananas and mayonnaise.
bananas and mayonnaise. Thank you very much.
Bananas and mayonnaise.
He puts mayonnaise on his bananas.
Yes.
That is effing
Ridiculous.
disgusting. Thank you, Tommy. Jesus, can't take it. What is the hardest part? What is the what? Oh, Jesus, what was the hardest? He didn't write this right. Give me a second. Come on, Eddie. Eddie, I can't do this with you. All right. What was the hardest things you've done in getting clean and sober? That's a Tommy question.
Um, the hardest thing was being honest with myself and stop denying that I had a problem.
Yeah.
And another hard thing was asking for help.
Mm.
I think as men, we can be pretty prideful, and our egos, as our hosts,
Uh, believe me,
can be pretty big.
I'm.
Um,
Hey, don't throw me
and
under the bus.
but yeah, it's pocketing your pride, and I went to treatment voluntarily because I knew I needed help and I needed a reset.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I mean, there's very few people that are one and done. Um, I know I wasn't that. I've been to rehab like 4 or 5 times. I've been into sober houses 5 or 6, 7, 8 times. Um, Tommy's right though. The hardest thing is being vulnerable. You know what I mean? Because we're used to being shut down or being told, "Oh, that's girly, that's weak, whatever." But being vulnerable to somebody who was in your same position at one point, they will love you right back. Anybody
Yeah.
who's got 4 years, 5 years, they may be at a touch a little bit, but they'll hug you back. They will show you love if you ask for it. Um, so that's a great answer to the question, Tommy. What was the other thing? Asking for help, and you said something else.
Yeah, just seeking help.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
admitting that you have a problem.
yeah, admitting that you have a problem. Yeah.
Right. So like that is step 1 and everybody does step 1 if they're in treatment or whatever. But it's hard to do what Tommy did and roll through the steps in a few months, and it's actually kind of rare. A lot of people take their time. They're on their 4th step for forever. They did their amends at the 3-year mark, whatever works for you. Tommy is taking it and running. If anybody wants to emulate Tommy's recovery, I would highly suggest to do it. You identify, you don't compare, and that's the
Yeah.
big thing with AA, and that's the big thing with feeling accepted. And you want to feel accepted. So yeah, that's it. So good answer, Tommy. Let's see. I want one for Mike here. I mean, what we can all answer this. Um, if you could, what is the one thing that you regret and would change if you could? Mike, do you have something like that? Like everybody does. Like I gotta imagine there's something you regret in life and would change if you're comfortable answering.
I I regret not becoming a nurse earlier in my life
Mhm.
and helping more people.
Yeah.
Um, I I wish that I was open to the empathy part of me that became me,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish I was an empath earlier in my career, so I could have helped more people before, of course, I had the stroke and had to retire.
That's kind of flooring to me, Tom. Like, I know you personally and I know you professionally. I think you're great in both regards, but it's nice to hear you say that. You wanted to start earlier, you wanted to help people earlier. And that's all of us. Same thing, I'm sure. Tommy, what was your the one thing you would change, you regret and you would change if you could, aside from being an alcoholic? Like taking steps towards something or doing something. What is one of those things? I think it opens up a nice discussion thing here on the podcast.
Yeah, I think not asking for help sooner. Like I shared
Mhm. Yep.
on an earlier podcast, I bottled up and held in all of my anxiety and depression, and
Yep.
I did not talk to anyone about it.
Yep.
And I used
Yeah.
to escape and numb all of those feelings, and then it just continued to spiral.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you need to talk to somebody, and whether it's a sponsor or a psychiatrist or a social worker, everybody's got a confidentiality thing. You can tell them anything.
Yeah.
Get it off your chest. Don't carry it around. And if you want to be on meds too, go on meds, but like they won't work unless you're doing work too. Um, so a lot of us are messed up. We did some things to our brain and our body that we're paying for. So medically, they will give you things to help you. Don't think that you are not any better or any worse. It's okay to be on psych meds. It's okay to do therapy. I just do it all is my suggestion. That's it. Thank you for sharing, Eddie from Ellie. Let's see here. I mean, this is also all three of us can answer this one. Mike from Belmar, the Ocean Belmar, not the Philly Belmar. What is the worst thing you've ever had to overcome? Didn't I just answer that in another question? What is the hardest thing you've done? All right, so never mind. It's the same question, repackaged. So let's move on to Steve from Bridgeport, Long Island. Me and my girl are planning on going to treatment soon. We like to go together. Not together, but under the same roof. Is that allowed? And if so, what to expect? Mike?
I've seen it. I've never seen it work.
No.
Everybody's recovery is different. Everybody, it's just not a good idea. If you guys love each other enough to do it together, which is
Mhm.
tough to begin with, to be with somebody else in recovery at their own pace, but to do it at the same time together, well, that's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot to ask of a relationship. And no, I would not recommend it at all.
No. Tommy, what are your thoughts on that?
I am in the same boat,
Yeah.
Mike. You said it well. I would definitely not recommend that. At the end of the day, you are in recovery for yourself,
Mhm.
and you go on that journey yourself. And I think having a spouse or a partner there or a girlfriend would be a distraction.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. In an earlier broadcast, we talked about getting clean with someone, and you're like, I don't even like you sober now, and you
Right.
chew, yeah,
Right.
and you chew loudly, like I don't,
Yeah.
I can't deal with you. So, you
Stop
know,
breathing.
so yeah,
Right.
I hate the way you breathe. What is with your face? It's terrible. Change it. So, yeah, so that's a good answer from both of you. I've seen it. I'm thinking about a very specific case, and I was in the rehab, not working there. And I don't know if you heard about it, Mike. I don't care about saying it. DMX was in our rehab.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the time I was in rehab, in
He
rehab
was
with.
a rough rider, but
Oh
good.
yeah, was he? I did rounds one day, and he was in there when I worked there, not when I was a patient.
Mm.
Um, he was doing rounds one day. I knock on the door. I say, X. I don't hear anything. X, I'm coming in. I open the door, and there he is, spread eagle, naked. And I'm like, shit, come on, DMX. So I'll never be able to unsee that. And rest in peace,
Rest in
DMX.
peace.
So what was my point? Oh yeah, so I
I
was
don't
working
know.
there. Yeah, I was working. I was
You saw a
working there.
snake, I think it was.
Yeah, it's a hot mess. I when I was working there, I saw a girl come in first, and I knew her from Trenton, New Jersey. I grew up there. And when she came in first, and then she was asking about her boyfriend. Is he here? Is he here? Is he here? And she was. I knew her boyfriend. Believe it or not, like they're rough. It's a rough crowd, but she didn't know if he was coming, and he ended up never coming, and she left it 9 days. So like, there's that physical attachment where you don't have
You're
sober
worrying
support.
about what the other one's doing, and
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And if you don't have sober support on the outside, then it's not going to work on the inside. Trust me. So
Yeah,
if you're coming in together, then there's a trust issue.
yeah,
Is the most gleaming thing.
yeah,
yeah.
and
Well
you'll
said.
you'll find out that yeah, this is a good point, Mike. You'll find out that you don't like that person, and like I'm very particular about people I bring into my inner sanctum, like Mike would say, and you guys are a couple of them. I can count on one hand who I trust and I'm honest with, and I going to
My grandfather used to say, "Hey, Mike, you only need six." And I was like, "What's that mean?" He's like, "F them all. You only need six in
hmm
your life.
that's
Six
a
pallbearers, boy.
yeah, that's a good
That's all you
point.
need."
Yeah,
So
if you're trying to reach out to everybody, you're going to be disappointed because not everybody's ready. Not everybody wants to talk to you. It's a hard thing to navigate. So yeah, thanks for the question, Steve from Galloway. So anyway, Princeton, New Jersey. Paul, have either of you guys had to Narcan someone? If so, what was it like? I don't know. You Narcan
yes,
them.
You've been
many.
Narcan, Tim.
Yeah, I've been Narcan twice.
I have not Narcan anyone.
Um,
I've had the Narcan. Just one that sticks out in my mind. I've seen where they come out of it almost like wanting to fight. Um,
yeah,
very confused, just wanting to swing at you. I've been hit.
yeah.
I've seen that where I had to do it a couple times, and I've seen that an hour later they have left treatment
hmm
because their high was gone and they wanted to
Yep,
go get high again. I've seen
no
them go
doubt.
get high. I've seen somebody overdose twice in the same night. So yeah,
Checked out.
I've done my share of Narcan. It's not fun because
No.
there's always that you don't know. Is it
Uh,
going to work? It's not
when I
guaranteed.
when I worked at our rehab, I pulled up at 6 o'clock at night to do the 6 to 2 shift, and I see everybody outside, and I get out of my car. And it's the fire alarm going off, and so I go over to the masses, and I talk to another RSS, and the next thing you know, there's all kinds of commotion in the crowd. I thought it was a fist fight at first, and we go over there, and
Excuse me.
excuse you, right? Are we? Mike Oxley. So I go over there, and I guess I thought it was a fight, and little did I know until I found out it was somebody seizing or dying or whatever, not getting the oxygen. And I I carry Narcan around with me everywhere in my jean pocket, and I was the only one out of 10 techs and therapists and everybody that had Narcan for this guy.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it. And I went over and I rolled him on his back, and people are trying to do stuff. I'm like, get the out of here.
Yeah.
I roll him over. I hit him. Psst, Narcan. 1, 2, 3. He's up. So
Wow.
just like that. And my dad will tell you too. When I overdosed on Christmas Eve, and he was trying everything to keep me alive, and what he did was make a 911 call, and everybody in the world showed up on our cul-de-sac, but they Narcan me, and it didn't work. And then they Narcan me a second time, and boom, my dad will tell you, I perked right up. So you got to be careful. If I needed a second dose of Narcan for this kid, he'd die right there because he is on the clock. You're on the clock now. Can you get the Narcan in 7 minutes to him before he's brain dead. Like, let's go here. And it was tough to watch. It's tough. It's a sobering realization that people aren't carrying this stuff with them. Whether it's in your glove compartment or if you're in treatment, put it in your pocket. It's hard to Narcan somebody. It's hard to see him dead and then see him alive, and they don't want to be alive. They're like, damn it, like you woke me up again. Stop doing that. So yeah, it's a tough thing. The Narcan. I'm just rambling at this point. This is a good one. We'll end it with this. Ricardo from Wilmington, Delaware. For the first time in my adult life, I'm trying to stay sober. I went to a few AA meetings and a few NA meetings. I prefer the NA meeting, but could you tell me your thoughts and experience as to what's better and what's the difference? What have you experienced, Tommy?
I mean, they all like NA, HA, CA, DAA, AA. They all fall under the AA program,
Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous, and the 12-step program. The one thing I'll say is that you may have, different experiences that are shared at those various meetings that may relate to, your drug of choice.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where maybe you could be more strategic on,
Sure.
if you're heroin addict, you would go to NA or HA. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't and shouldn't matter what type of meeting you go to, even if it's, gambling anonymous. I mean, it's an addiction. And so, we're all there with the same problem and the same solution. So.
No, it's good, Tommy. You can't discriminate on a meeting because if you do, it will lock you out. I went to Tommy said, I went to a CA meeting once, and I didn't hear anything about the 12 steps.
Really?
Not a word. It wasn't hanging on the wall behind them. But like you said, the framework is still there. They have their own readings and their own responses. It's ridiculous, right? But it's not for me, but it's for, I guess, kids, basically. I'm 40 years old. I guess there's kids that need this, and it is insanity. But like you said, AA, what is it? NA, HA, heroin and addicts?
Heroin Anonymous.
Anonymous, yeah. Whether it's any one of those A's, they basically do the same thing, and they basically follow the same principles.
Yeah.
So, don't let a group turn you off. One of my favorite meetings was an AA meeting, and I am a fentanyl addict. So it does, just sit there and listen. If you want to share your clean time, go right at it. I'm on Suboxone, but I haven't stuck a needle in my arm with heroin and cocaine in over a year. So like, I will share. I don't care. I don't advertise them on Suboxone. None of anybody's business, but I'll share it, and I'll share it on here. It just is what it is. That's another topic for another conversation. So yeah, you need to bounce around and see what meetings are good for you. Tommy said you gotta kind of feel it out, and you can't make snap judgments. And we're addicts, so we make irrational judgments on things. So as you get clean longer and continue to follow the steps and continue to do what you should be doing, you'll feel better about yourself and more confident about going into any meeting and feeling perfectly comfortable. I said last episode, I could be in a room full of people and feel alone. You know what I mean? So like, it's just one of those things. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's do one more email before we call it quits. I don't like to go over an hour, but it is what it is. Last one. This one's kind of funny. I don't mean to laugh at somebody's plight, but this is kind of funny. Alex from Hamilton, New Jersey. My brother is out of his mind. He smoked a lot of crack a while ago. Now he talks to the walls, says there's little children in there after him. Somehow he gets Adderall and he eats them like they're Skittles, but I guess he gets them from a crook doctor. He's nuts. He's combative. What do I do first so I'm not spinning my wheels here? That's a lot.
Mike.
Yeah. Well, you got to, I mean, number one is put all that energy to use around the house. Put a lawnmower in his hand, paintbrush in his, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I know.
Um, First thing is wait until he comes down a little bit and have that talk with him.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's running around, obviously there's going to be, if not already, some kind of heart issue, some kind of heart ailment with it
yeah,
running at 150% all the time, at
yeah.
130 beats.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, he needs to want to help, and if he doesn't want to help, then you got to distance yourself.
Yeah.
Tough love.
All
He
right.
can't. There's not many places that he can hang without getting help. That he can talk to little people on the wall.
Right.
You know, I know he's trying to be funny by describing that, but mental illness is no joke,
And it's a
and
mental
sometimes
illness thing for sure.
it's what came first, chicken or the egg. So,
Hmm.
um, is he mentally ill, and that's why he seeks to use the crack, or like the old commercials? But this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs with the fried egg.
Hmm.
Is the use of the crack causing brain damage? So one or the other is going on there, but it has to stop. And you're going to have to get tough love, and he needs to go in a program. And if that program has to start in jail for his crazy behavior, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it.
Good point. All right, boys, we're gonna wrap this thing up here. Check us out on Facebook, on our website, trash-podcast.com. That links everything up. So I highly suggest doing that. Um, get your Narcan. It saves lives. You know what I mean? It's free. Go to nextdistro.org and you can get it for free, without a doubt. I use Days Clean or Days Since. So I highly suggest getting an app that follows your clean time, just for yourself, just so you know. Um, and check out the NA Meetings app. You just type in NA Meetings, and it'll find your home group. You need to be patient to work with this app. It's not great, but a good app is the Meeting Finder app. That's what we do going to AA meetings. You'll figure it out. It's just if you want it, it's out there. Go get it. And if you need help, reach out, ask us. We will give it to you. And that's about it. I want to show you what my daughter got for her birthday.
Oh, beautiful.
Lovely.
Did I show this already or no?
No.
No.
Okay, yeah. So it's a solidly, I don't know, glass heart. It's like, I don't know, an inch and a half long, or wide rather, and uh, and they engrave it, and it's funny because I used an AI photos. Oh my god! So, but that really looks like her. That looks like I'm an idiot looking up at the sky. He's saying, "Hey, there's an airplane." So that's me. The listeners can't see. I'm holding up a present I got from my daughter, and we're engraved inside a heart. And this thing's never gonna break. It could break a foot if you drop it on it, but it's solid. It's something I did to say I love you. Other than all the money I sent her too. So that's it. I want to share that. Um, Highway Moving and Transport Services. Let them transport your goods. They've been trusted to do it in Jersey for a number of years. They will move your stuff so you don't have to. Highway Moving and Transport Services, 609-289-4935, the only way to move. All right, boys, that is our episode for the evening. Thank you for joining us, listeners, and thanks to my new co-host, Tommy. So we got a nice little vibe going on here.
We do.
I love it. I love it so much. We are going to take off with this thing. So, fans, bear with us for when the next episode's going to drop. I don't know. I have to figure it out. Something's going to get skipped so we can get on the right time frame. But yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, guys. Love you. Good job this episode. I don't know, man. This is a fun one. So,
Tony, good job, Tony.
attaboy, Tony. What did it say? Or his co-host or whatever?
Right, right. Co-cost.
Co-host. All right.
Go Braves, Mike.
Yeah, there it
Yeah,
is.
you ain't go to hell.
All right.